everyone, it's Mare. Welcome back for part 3 of Brows 101, where we're going to add a little bit of brow grooming product and finish our look. So thanks again for coming back to join us, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, give us a big thumbs up, and click that notification bell so you know exactly when the next videos are coming out. Okay, so now you can have a look. I have tweezed both sides. And you want to aim for balance and evenness as opposed to perfect symmetry, okay? Everybody's face is slightly asymmetrical. Even if you have a face that is like, your eyes are level, your ears are level, your nose is even, your lips are even, your brows may still be uneven as far as how they grow, so the thickness and how much hair there is. There's always one brow I feel that wants to groom better than the other, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, why can't you just be like that one? And I also, it's force of habit, I tend to tweeze my left eyebrow first, and I don't know why that is, but I kind of tweeze that one first and then I go for the other one, and you try and match them up. So it's not a question of having your brows being perfectly level above your eyes, because as you can see, this brow just naturally arches and curves a little bit more than on this side, okay? And also the way your facial expressions change, maybe one brow goes up higher than the other. So it's not trying to correct your face. If you wanted to do that, again, take a tip from the drag queens, block your brows out, baby, and start from scratch if you're really that concerned about it. Because personally, I think that your face is beautiful no matter how your brows are up or down on one side or the other. Just try and tweeze them so that they're even. You may notice that you have a little bit of redness, okay, especially if it's been a while since you've touched your brows. And if you didn't have time to do your brows the day before you have a big event or something, all I suggest doing is taking a little bit of translucent powder or a little bit of light concealer and just apply it on your eyelid, okay, but just blend it down and go right up to where your brows are to take a little bit of that redness out. Okay, you can go slightly into the brow, but if you do that, make sure that you grab a spoolie or a comb so that your brows don't look like they're covered in concealer, because that's something you can visibly see right away if there's like beige on usually black hair, okay, or dark brown hair. I took a little cotton bud, and all I did was I just kind of buffed around just in circles a little bit, and just like that, very gently, to sort of take all of that, the line that I had. And I did actually do the other side as well, and I just did the same thing, and you can tell now. You can't see that there's really any concealer or that there was a pencil there or anything at all. Hot debate topic a lot is the top of your brows. I touch up the top of my brows maybe twice a year, if that. I don't have a lot of excess hair that grows up here, and I'm not trying to tweeze my brows to within an inch of their life because I like my brows. You know, I think that it's one of my loveliest features on my face, and I've had a makeup artist or two tell me that they really enjoy, you know, my brow shape and that I have a really good bone structure, and I was just kind of like, isn't that awesome? Especially when I have people who are like microblading specialists go, oh, you should come see us, we'll fix your brows. I'm like, honey, there's nothing wrong with my brows, and I've had more than one makeup artist tell me that. And also, working in film and TV industry, doing something like microblading where you're essentially temporary tattooing your face, it's a look. It's like I talked about before, where if I just did brow corrector with nothing else on, imagine that. You're showing up on set on a no makeup day where you've had specific instructions, and they've said, no makeup. We want no makeup or very, very light foundation. They did not mention brows. They did not mention eyeshadow. They did not mention mascara. They talk about your base, and that's it, okay? If you show up and you've got like lash extensions or you've got your brows done, they might have to make your brows under. They might have to spend time trying to conceal that. and make your brows look more natural. So for anybody who kind of is not in a very specific look category and you're working as an actor, it's never a good idea to get any kind of permanent makeup done, because that might actually rule you out for a lot of jobs. And believe me, I've worked with enough actors who have shown up who pretty much got bitched out for showing up with lash extensions when the brief or the notes from the makeup department was no makeup, no mascara, and they show up and it usually doesn't go so well. So anyhow, just keeping that in mind, right? Microblading is something that's permanent. It works great, especially for people who don't have very full brows to begin with. And if you're not working in film and TV, who cares? Go get microbladed, fill your boots, get your brows tattooed on if you feel like that is going to make your life easier. I'm just coming from the perspective and sharing a few little insider tips about, you know, if this is something you're thinking about, or if you're a model, it's giving your face a very distinct look. So you need to be aware of that some people don't want that. Now we're gonna get on to doing a little bit of corrector. Okay, so if you are going to use a pencil, try and keep it as sharp as possible. And yeah, the tip's gonna dull down very quickly, but you wanna try and make sure that you're actually getting the product under the brows, like onto the actual skin, okay? So that's where you're gonna fill, because you don't want it to just be sitting on the brows, because then you're just kind of coloring the brows. It's like taking hair mascara and putting it on your hair, when what you actually want to do is you want to correct the skin that's underneath. Okay, we're not going to do much. I'm just going to do a little bit so you can see. And my advice to you is always start on your bad side. That is a really good painter and face painting and makeup artist trick. So I already told you, I tend to go to the left side first because I'm left-handed and that's my good side. So I'm gonna go over to the right first. And all I wanna do is start off, I groomed my brows, okay? So I'm just brushing them up, and then I'm actually going to go across, which is one of the reasons why I love a comb like this, is because you can get a really nice clean line. And I just go across, and then it's almost like you want to slant the comb so that it's kind of going under the brows, and then it just kind of pulls the hair together so you can see where your bald spots are, if you have any. Sorry, I realized that the mirror is right in front of here, okay? So, but you can see that I've got a good shape already, so I don't need to do much. But for those of you who don't have Brooke Shields caterpillar eyebrows normally, this is going to be your best friend. I suggest you start with a pencil because it's something that you're familiar with. It's like using eyeliner. And unless you have bushy brows like this, don't use a clear brow gel because it's not going to do you any favors. Brow gel that is clear is more like hair gel. It's for keeping the brows in place, or using a brow wax. If you have no brows, you have no need for brow gel because there's nothing to hold in place. You're drawing them in. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna start a little bit because I do want my brows to look a little bit more squared off. So I'm gonna start by just kind of lifting the hair up a little bit, and then you want to do short feathery strokes, okay? And you don't want to go right to the edge of your hairline. You want to be able to see that there's natural hair there, but here we're just adding a little bit of pigment just to make it look slightly more solid. Okay, and I just kind of go like that, just a little bit. And thankfully I haven't tweezed any bald spots for a while, so that's good. Hey, it happens to the best of us, man. One hair too much. Like I said, one hair can give you a bald spot. Because my brow hairs are quite long. And you know, we can talk about using brow grooming scissors with a tweezer on another one, but I tend not to trim my brows, and I would say, especially if you're not familiar with any kind of brow grooming or hair cutting even, and you don't know how to direct the hair so that you don't look like you've just cut the ends of your brows off, stay away from the scissors, my friend. Stay away. Put the scissors down, girlfriend. All right, so now just kind of going here. And so this is where I get into trouble. This is my tail. There's no tail. So like I said, you get a bright flash on that sucker and it looks like there's nothing there. So all I'm doing is I'm just lightly, I'm not pushing on it like if I was drawing a picture. I'm just doing very light feathered strokes, and then it looks like you're just extending the hairline, okay? So, and I don't want to go too far, but you can see how this, through the process of doing this, it messes up your brows. So that's why you need to have your spoolie or your comb handy. So now that I've kind of gone and I've done one pass on that, okay, they look a little bit more solid compared to the other side, but I've used so little product, and I've also used a fairly light color. When in doubt, go lighter, okay? Going darker, it's a look, and lighter is better. One of my favorite makeup artists, Kevin Aucoin, he was brilliant. And what he used to do is he'd take his models' brows and then he would bleach them. Not necessarily bleach to white, but he would lighten the brows so that it was usually a shade or two lighter than what your hair color is. It gives a much softer look to the face. It's not as harsh. So if you have black hair and you're using a black brow filler, it's going to look harsh. If you have black hair and you use a dark brown, it's going to look softer. So go lighter, err on the side of caution. That's why you get to try stuff on at Sephora. Talk to your favorite makeup or cosmetic counter girl, and you know what, just say, hey, I really need to see what this looks like, and make sure that they have good lighting, which is why I highly recommend Sephora for that, because they do have proper makeup mirrors with proper lighting according to, you can change the lighting according to the scenario that you want. So Sephora is brilliant. It's the mothership. You will hear me call it that. I've been in love with Sephora for as long as they've existed. So yeah, so now you can kind of see, like, from one side, hello eyebrows, to the other side where, oh, there's no tail. No, there's no tail. This one looks like it just has just a little bit of, oh, hello. Okay. It frames the eye just a little bit more. So you can see, without doing much, it kind of changes the framing of your eyes. And I personally prefer doing my brows last, because I want my shadow to be in place, especially if I'm doing a smoky eye or I'm going with a really fun, vivid color. I need to see the color placement because I know where my brows will end up, okay? And someone who does brilliant tutorials on this again, Wayne Goss. I love Wayne Goss. He is such a gem, and I'm trying to make life easy for you, not necessarily show you super complex makeup techniques. So if you want to go and learn the super complex makeup techniques that he has actually simplified, go check out Wayne Goss's channel. He's an adorable man. I want to meet him someday in person because he's just such a lovely human being. So he's been around for a long time and he works with the best. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's go do the other side, shall we? Let's go in. Okay, oh, and it's amazing. I've actually got freckles. I don't usually have many freckles this time of year. It's funny. I get a little bit freckly in the summer, but I don't turn into one giant freckle. I have loads of friends who do, and I adore their freckles. I think freckles are beautiful. And you know what? We can actually do a fun faux freckle tutorial one day. That's something that's really fun, especially if you're stuck at home and you just want to try a different look and you've always wanted freckles. There's some really easy ways to do it that are not permanent. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go back in again. And just light, light, light little feather strokes and getting down to the skin. Okay, so you're just trying to make it look like there's slightly more hair than there actually is, just so that it's a little bit denser. But I'm not trying to do like if I'm getting my eyebrows microbladed. I just want it to look like there's a little bit more. Okay, so this is, see, like, that's all I want. I want a little bit. Give me a little bit of tail, sister! But yeah, like, really, that's all I want. And I'm following the natural downturn of where the hair growth is and where I'm directing the hair growth when I'm combing it, okay? So that's also part of knowing your eyebrow shape. If your eyebrows are straight across, like Audrey Hepburn, let's say, Audrey Hepburn's brows, oh, to die for. I mean, they were just so Audrey. They were a signature part of her look, okay? And she just, one of the most stunning people inside and out, I think, that ever walked the earth. I adore her. But we have very different shapes to our faces and our eyes are not the same. So yeah, I could go super, super thick and do a darker brow, but then I start going into more of the Instabrow category, which is not a look that I like to sport every day. You know, if I'm planning on walking out the door looking like a supermodel, yeah, it might be a darker and it might be slightly heavier than what this is now. But for something that is just correcting, that's it. It's not that hard, okay? And really, that's it. So now I'm just gonna put a little bit of makeup on and I'm gonna take the shiny side actually. Let's just do a slight brow highlight, okay? Nothing crazy. And I'm taking, again, this is the gold side, okay? And I'm just gonna go just a little bit right where the brow peaks and curves, and just go a little bit out there, okay? It just kind of adds a little bit more light and dimension to the outside of the eye. And you can just blend that in softly with your finger, but you can see how it gives just a little bit of shimmer without going too crazy, okay? And for you ladies who are over the age of 50, let's say, or if you happen to be a 40-year-old and you feel like your skin is looking a little bit dull, or it's, you know, it's looking a little bit old, putting a really, really heavy highlight under your brow is actually going to make you look older. So to keep it youthful, you just want it to be a little glow. And that's why this gold, or using a taupe that's maybe like in a satin finish, as opposed to, you don't want to use something that has glitter, and you don't want something with too much shimmer. Just to keep it natural. Okay, so I'm gonna go do the other side. Okay, just a little tiny bit. And you can see how, I mean, I just, you know, I prepped my face before I did this. And if you end up going too far, like I kind of went to the center here. If you went too far, you guys, that's what these are for. You just kind of go boop, 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 boop. Okay, it's gone. And then I can just blend in that little tiny bit of highlight. And so it just, that adds, that little tiny bit adds, it's kind of that dewy, radiant skin look, because that's where you would normally have a little bit of radiant shine with a really healthy skin and a good glow, okay? So really, it's just makeup. Let's have some fun, okay? Now we're gonna go to my lovely mascara that I adore, okay? And I go from looking like I'm 12 to looking like I am actually old enough to have children, I feel, when I put mascara on. Which I still get asked about my age frequently, and it makes me giggle. I'm not afraid to say I'm 45. And yeah, I might be looking a little tired right now, but I think I'm doing okay for 45. I'm not going to complain. Yes, these are my natural lashes, all right? And I'm just doing a very light coat, and I want to sort of coax out the bottom of the lash so that I get good length. If your eyelashes aren't that long, there's different techniques that you can use to make them look longer without necessarily adding false lashes or adding too much product. But yeah, and then the thing I love about this mascara is that my lashes look like they're fairly straight at the moment, but as this mascara dries, it kind of makes the lashes curl up a little bit, and I just love that. It's so pretty. All right, so same thing on the other side. And this is a fairly new mascara tube that I have. And I find that I prefer my mascara once it's had a chance to dry out a little bit. So if you're getting too much product on your mascara wand, you can actually just kind of drag it across a tissue. Make sure that it's a good tissue though, that you know how there's different tissues, tissue versus toilet paper, how sometimes one's less fuzzy than the other. You want to go with something that's not going to drag a whole bunch of lint onto the brush as well when you're doing that. Okay, so we've just got a little swipe of mascara. Gonna do the bottom lashes, and I've got, oh, see there, this brush is so good because I can get like a little lump or something on it, and then I can just kind of go back and feather it out. Love it. And you can see how I'm kind of, again, I've talked about this before in the makeup essentials, but just sort of having a white background, like really my makeup mirror is actually aimed at the wall behind me so that I can see my lashes as I'm going through them with the wand, and as I'm getting the mascara on the lashes, I can see the placement really well. And then once it's kind of, you know, I've already talked about the lash comb and how handy that is, but for the time being, sometimes if I get two lashes that are stuck together, like if you have a look over on this corner here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I start feeling like I get the spider legs going if I've got two lashes that are stuck together with some mascara. But okay, so this is like super, super easy, right? And it looks like it's just natural. And because I didn't go heavy on the brows, I don't look overly made up. But I would not do my brows unless I knew that I was going to be putting at very least some mascara on there. Okay, so now we're gonna just use fingers. I'm gonna take this, okay, and I'm just gonna use my finger. Your ring finger is actually the best finger for applying any makeup to your face because it's the one that has kind of the least strength. Your index finger is very, very strong, so you want to use one of your weaker fingers so that you can just tap and pat very gently. So I'm just going to take this lovely little pink color that I have that has a little shimmer. It's very neutral, and I'm just going to pat some of that right in the center of the eyelid. Okay, so you're aiming for where your pupil is. Okay, that's kind of where you want to go. So you want to be looking fairly straight on at a mirror when you're doing this. Okay, but just that little tiny bit of shimmer, okay, it just helps to make you look a little bit more awake. And I love a pink shimmer. Just a little gentle pink shimmer. This works on almost any skin tone, depending on how much into the yellow or into the blue tones you are. You just need to choose the right shade of pink for your skin. And, you know, we can talk about color families on another day. And just a little tiny bit, just, oh, so pretty. And when you have a little pink shimmer, oh, you want to go have some fun on your cheekbones, Mija? Okay, we're just gonna go and put just a little tiny bit just right here. Don't want to go too far under the eye because I do have some nice Samsonites right here, but if you kind of want to keep it more towards the cheek, and you can just add just a little bit. Okay, just something to kind of give your cheekbone a little more definition, and just rub it in. Okay, whatever you do, if you're going for a no makeup look, you want to blend it and blend it well. Okay, That's kind of my number one rule, is learn how to blend. Even if you want to do makeup looks that are not blended, that's like Bobbi Brown. There's a lot of layering with Bobbi Brown, okay? The way that she does makeup, and she's brilliant. But if you look at someone like Charlotte Tilbury, there's a lot of blending that's going on so that you don't see the rough edges, and then things like your let's say liquid liner, if you want to do like a cat eye or a feline flick as she calls it, then that is what stands out, not the separation between the colors in your eyes. So that's it. I'm really happy that you guys joined me for this today. I hope it was informative. Leave any questions or comments down below. I'm always happy to help. And without seeing your faces, this is as broad and general as I can get for you so that you have some idea of where to get started. But just make sure you prep your skin, you prep your tools, have a good mirror, and then have some fun, okay? So for today, all of you, make sure that you give us a big like. Thank you for watching, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know exactly when our next videos are coming out. So for today, this is SickMom checking out at the Star Studio.